The holographic display floating above Maya Chen's neural interface showed 47 empty seats, each one a small knife twisting in her chest. She stood at the floor-to-ceiling smart glass of her bridal suite at Rosewood Manor, watching the automated wedding setup below arrange itself with mechanical precision. White roses materialized from the matter compiler, their petals too perfect to be real, yet somehow more authentic than anything her family had ever offered her. Her Neuralink chimed with another message, the words appearing directly in her peripheral vision thanks to her retinal implant. "Sorry, darling, your father's orbital golf tournament ran late. You understand?" Mother. Maya's jaw clenched as she dismissed the message with a thought. The Chen family's absence wasn't about scheduling conflicts, it was about control. For 28 years, she'd been their experiment in perfection, genetically optimized before birth, cognitively enhanced at 16, groomed to inherit a real estate empire that now spanned 3 planets. Every decision had been calculated to maximize their social capital in Neo Francisco's cutthroat hierarchy. Until 6 months ago, when she'd made the unthinkable choice to think for herself. "Maya?" David's voice carried through the suite's audio system, gentle but uncertain. "The guests are arriving. My family's here." She turned from the window, catching her reflection in the mirror wall. Her wedding dress was from her own collection, sustainable silk grown in vertical farms, hand-embroidered by artisans she paid living wages. Every thread represented a principle her family found incomprehensible: profit with purpose, beauty without exploitation. "I'll be right there," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The ceremony space was a study in contrasts. David's side buzzed with warmth. His parents, siblings, teacher colleagues, all genuine smiles and misty eyes. Maya's side stretched empty except for 3 friends: Zoe, her college roommate turned business partner, Alex, her sustainable tech consultant, and Miranda, the only Chen family member brave enough to defy parental orders. As Maya walked down the aisle, her augmented reality contacts overlaid social media feeds showing her family's real-time activities. Her brother James was live-streaming from a Mars casino. Her sister Caroline was posting sponsored content from an Aspen ski resort. Their absence wasn't accidental, it was performative. David's eyes lit up as she approached, and Maya felt a familiar pang of guilt. He was good, kind, safe. Everything her enhanced psychology profile suggested would make her happy. But as she took his hand, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that she was settling for a life that fit rather than one that soared. "You look incredible," David whispered, squeezing her fingers. The ceremony proceeded with intimate perfection. David's vows spoke of partnership and growth. Maya's focused on building something meaningful together, though the words felt rehearsed even to her own ears. When they kissed, sealing their union, the small crowd erupted in genuine joy, a sound that would have been impossible to manufacture. The reception dinner at Rosewood's exclusive dining room felt more like a family gathering than a wedding celebration. Maya had chosen this intimacy deliberately, rejecting the 1,000-person spectacle her parents had planned. Every detail reflected her values: locally sourced food, carbon-negative decorations, a string quartet of human musicians instead of AI performers. She was picking at her sustainably farmed salmon when her peripheral vision caught movement at the entrance. A man had appeared, tall, impeccably dressed in a suit that probably cost more than most people's annual salaries. He moved through the space with the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to attention, his dark hair swept back, his features sharp enough to cut glass. Maya's enhanced social recognition software immediately flagged him as unregistered. No digital footprint, no social media presence, no biometric match in any database. In 2087, that was either the mark of a criminal or someone wealthy enough to live completely off-grid. "I don't think we've met," Maya said, approaching with her practiced hostess smile as the stranger surveyed the intimate crowd. He turned, and Maya felt her breath catch. His eyes were the color of expensive whiskey, warm but with an edge that suggested dangerous depths. When he smiled, it was slow and devastating, the kind of expression that suggested he knew secrets worth keeping. Actually, he said, his voice carrying just a hint of an accent her language processors couldn't place, I'm here for you, though we haven't been properly introduced. He extended his hand. Roman Castellanos, my aunt sends her regrets for missing tonight. Maya shook his hand, noting the way his fingers lingered just a moment longer than strictly professional. Your aunt? Elena Rodriguez. You might know her work. Maya's enhanced memory instantly pulled up Elena's profile. Legendary fashion editor, 2 billion social media followers, tastemaker for 3 planets. Maya had sent her a lookbook months ago, never expecting a response from someone of Elena's stature. Elena Rodriguez, Maya repeated, trying to keep her voice steady. She's in the top tier of influence metrics. Roman's smile turned predatory. She's also very interested in designers who turn down Valentino collaborations for ethical reasons. Maya's blood went cold. The Valentino deal was her secret shame. 2 million credits for a collection she'd rejected because their Martian factories used indentured servants. No one knew about it except, how did you… Fashion worlds are smaller than you think, Roman said, stepping closer. Close enough that Maya could smell his cologne, something expensive and intoxicating that her olfactory enhancers identified as containing actual Earth botanicals. Especially when someone makes waves by choosing principles over profit. David appeared at Maya's elbow, his teacher's instincts clearly sensing tension. Everything okay, babe? This is Roman Castellanos, Maya said, her social programming kicking in. Elena Rodriguez's nephew. The Elena Rodriguez? David's eyebrows shot up. From the fashion feeds. Roman nodded politely to David, but kept his attention focused on Maya with laser intensity. Eleanor wanted me to deliver something personally. He produced an elegant envelope from his jacket. She believes timing is everything in business. As Roman handed over the envelope, his fingers brushed Maya's. The contact lasted only seconds, but Maya felt a jolt of electricity that had nothing to do with her neural implants. Roman's eyes held hers, and she caught something there. Recognition, interest, the suggestion of possibilities that made her stomach flutter dangerously. What is it? David asked, reading over Maya's shoulder. Maya broke the seal, her hands trembling slightly. The letter inside was written on actual paper, a luxury so rare that Maya's friends had gathered around to stare. I can't read someone else's private correspondence in front of everyone, Maya whispered. Roman's smile turned challenging. Eleanor very much wants this to be public. Trust me. David's expression tightened. Maya, what's going on? The room had gone quiet, conversations dying as people sensed drama. Maya looked around at the small gathering, her chosen family of friends, David's warm relatives, the empty space where her own family should have been. Roman leaned closer, his voice dropping to an intimate whisper that sent shivers down Maya's spine. Sometimes, the people who should believe in us need proof before they'll pay attention. Eleanor thinks tonight might be perfect for providing that proof. Maya's hands shook as she unfolded the letter. The first line made her gasp. Dear Maya, she read aloud, her voice growing stronger with each word. I hope this finds you celebrating not just a marriage, but the beginning of recognition you've long deserved. The room held its breath. After extensive review of your sustainable fashion work, I'm formally inviting you to showcase at New Terra Fashion Week this September. Your commitment to ethical practices represents exactly the kind of revolutionary thinking our industry desperately needs. Maya heard Zoe gasp behind her. New Terra Fashion Week was the pinnacle. more prestigious than Paris had ever been, with an audience spanning 3 planets. Furthermore, Maya continued, her voice barely steady, I'd like to discuss featuring your boutique in our upcoming documentary series, Fashion's New Conscience, which will premiere simultaneously on Earth, Mars, and the lunar colonies. David's mouth fell open. Maya, There's more, Roman said softly, encouragingly. Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. Finally, I understand your family wasn't supportive of your career choices. I hope they'll come to understand, as I have, that you're not just building a business, you're leading a revolution. The fashion world across 3 planets is watching, Maya, and we're all very impressed. The silence stretched until Miranda started crying. Oh my God, Maya, this is huge. New Terra Fashion Week, Alex breathed. Do you understand what this means for sustainable fashion visibility? But Maya was staring at Roman, whose whiskey eyes held a mixture of triumph and something else. Something that made her pulse race in ways that had nothing to do with professional success. Did you know? She asked him quietly. About the letter? Roman stepped closer, close enough that only she could hear his response. I know many things about you, Maya Chen, including the fact that your family has no idea what they gave up when they chose status games over supporting the most remarkable woman in their bloodline. The way he said her name, like a caress, like a promise, made Maya's enhanced cardiovascular system register a spike in heart rate that her health monitoring immediately flagged as significant. Before Maya could respond, her Neuralink chimed with an avalanche of incoming messages. Her enhanced processing showed the letter had been simultaneously posted to Elena Rodriguez's social feeds. The woman had 2 billion followers across 3 planets. Maya, darling, just saw Elena's feeds. Call immediately. Mother. Holy shit, is this real? The business networks are calling you a sustainable fashion pioneer. Brother James. Why didn't you tell us about New Terra Fashion Week? We're leaving Aspen now. Sister Caroline. Maya stared at the messages flooding her neural interface, each one a small betrayal wrapped in suddenly manufactured enthusiasm. The family that couldn't be bothered to attend her wedding was now frantic to associate themselves with her success. Roman watched her face process the implications, his expression knowing. Sometimes people need external validation to see what's been right in front of them all along. What do you see? The question slipped out before Maya could stop it, and she felt David's attention sharpen beside her. Roman's smile was slow and dangerous. I see a woman who turned down 2 million credits because it conflicted with her principles. I see someone who built a business that employs single mothers and partners with artisan cooperatives across 3 planets. I see a designer who's about to revolutionize an entire industry and looks absolutely stunning while doing it. The compliment hung in the air like a challenge. Maya felt heat creep up her neck as David cleared his throat pointedly. We should probably get back to our guests, David said, but his voice carried an edge Maya rarely heard. Of course, Roman said smoothly. But before I leave, Maya, Eleanor wanted me to ask if you'd be interested in dinner this week. She'll be back from the Martian Fashion Summit Wednesday, and she has some opportunities she'd like to discuss. He produced a business card, actual paper again, with raised lettering that probably cost more per square centimetre than most people's monthly salaries. As he handed it to her, his fingers lingered against hers. She also wanted me to tell you, Roman continued, his voice dropping to an intimate whisper, that she's very impressed by your ability to spot quality in materials, in business partnerships. His eyes flicked to David, then back to her. In everything. Maya's breath caught. The implication was clear, inappropriate, and absolutely thrilling. Before she could process what was happening, Roman stepped back and addressed the room with easy confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention for just a moment. Roman moved to the center of the reception with the fluid confidence of someone accustomed to commanding attention across 3 planets. Maya's social recognition software continued to flag him as an anomaly. No digital footprint, no biometric matches, existing in the spaces between surveillance networks like a ghost made flesh. "I know I'm a stranger here," Roman began, his voice carrying easily through the intimate space without amplification technology. In an age of neural broadcasting and vocal enhancers, his purely human presence felt both primitive and powerful. "But I couldn't leave without sharing something Elena discovered about your host tonight." Maya's enhanced cardiovascular monitoring detected her heart rate spiking as Roman's whiskey eyes found hers across the room. Maya Chen didn't just turn down a collaboration worth more credits than most planetary settlements see in a decade, Roman continued, each word precisely calculated. She walked away because the offer required her to compromise the very principles that make her work revolutionary. The room's attention focused like a laser. David's expression shifted from confusion to something harder to read. While fashion houses across 3 planets chase profit margins and social media metrics, Maya built something different. A business that's sustainable, profitable, and ethical. Something the industry experts claimed was impossible in our current economic climate. Roman raised his champagne glass, the gesture somehow more elegant than the automated service drones floating nearby. Tonight, while her biological family chose virtual golf tournaments and sponsored ski trips over supporting her, she surrounded herself with people who understand true worth. Maya felt her breath catch as Roman's gaze intensified. To Maya, a woman who didn't need anyone's permission to become extraordinary. "To Maya!" the room chorused, but Maya barely heard the toast over the roaring in her ears. Roman's words had stripped away every careful defense she'd built around her family's rejection. As guests resumed their conversations, Roman approached her table. "Elena will be calling you tomorrow. She rarely moves this quickly, but—" He shrugged, the gesture somehow managing to be both casual and loaded with implication. "Why?" Maya's voice came out smaller than intended. "Why did you really come tonight?" Roman's smile turned predatory. "Because watching extraordinary people realize their own power is my favorite form of entertainment." Before Maya could respond, her Neuralink exploded with notifications. Her enhanced processing showed Eleanor Rodriguez's social feeds lighting up across the galactic network. Photos from tonight's letter reading, commentary about Maya's revolutionary approach to sustainable fashion, speculation about the mysterious heir who'd turned down millions for principles. The metrics were staggering. Within 30 minutes, Maya's name was trending on 17 different planets. Maya woke to David sitting on the edge of their hotel suite bed, his tablet displaying news feeds from across the solar system. "The designer who chose ethics over empire," David read from the floating hologram. Maya Chen's rejection of corporate fashion represents a generational shift toward authentic success. That's from Mars Business Weekly. Maya sat up, her silk nightgown sliding off one shoulder as she processed the cascade of headlines. Her boutique's customer interface had crashed from traffic. Her business partner Zoe had sent 47 urgent messages. 3 different venture capital firms had already submitted preliminary investment offers. "This is insane," Maya whispered. "Your parents called," David said, his tone carefully neutral. "They want to meet for brunch, to discuss opportunities." Maya's laugh contained no humor. "Of course they do." An hour later, Maya found herself in Rosewood's formal dining room, staring across white tablecloths at the people who'd birthed and designed her but had never bothered to know her. Patricia Chen looked immaculate as always, her genetic modifications aging gracefully, her neural implants hidden beneath perfectly styled hair. Richard's augmented physique filled his custom suit with calculated intimidation. "Darling," Patricia began, her tone bright enough to power a small space station. We had no idea about the scope of your achievements. Elena Rodriguez, New Terra Fashion Week. Why didn't you tell us? Maya sipped her Synthicaf, letting the silence stretch. David fidgeted beside her, clearly uncomfortable with confrontation. I tried, Maya said finally, for months. You were too busy optimizing James's political campaign metrics and Caroline's social media engagement rates. Richard leaned forward, his enhanced pupils dilating as he accessed real-time market data. Maya, I've been reviewing the projections for sustainable fashion. The growth curves are unprecedented. With proper backing, you mean Chen Industries backing? Family backing, Patricia corrected smoothly. We want to support your vision, help you scale properly. This could be incredible for all of us. Maya's enhanced emotional recognition software flagged the micro-expressions her parents couldn't hide. Calculating interest, social positioning, the same predatory evaluation they applied to every business acquisition. Where were you yesterday? Maya asked quietly. When I needed family support. We explained about the scheduling conflicts. You chose a virtual golf tournament over your daughter's wedding. Maya's voice remained level, but David's hand found hers under the table. You chose sponsored content opportunities over celebrating the most important day of my life. Patricia's composure cracked slightly. That's not fair, Maya. We've always wanted what's best for you. What's best for the Chen brand, you mean? Maybe we should hear them out, David interjected softly. If they want to help now, Maya turned to stare at her husband, her social analysis programs suddenly cataloguing every micro-expression on his face. Hope, excitement, the same calculating gleam she'd just seen in her parents' eyes. Help, Maya repeated slowly. I mean, Maya, this could be huge for us, David continued, apparently oblivious to the way her expression was shifting. With their connections, their capital, we could expand the boutique, maybe start that non-profit you mentioned. We, Maya said. David's enthusiasm faltered at her tone. What? Maya felt something crystallize inside her chest, cold and sharp as manufactured diamond. You said we could expand, huge for us. This is my business, my achievement, my principles. Maya, I didn't mean, you mean exactly what my parents mean, Maya said, standing abruptly. Now that it's valuable, you want to manage it, direct it, optimize it for maximum benefit. Patricia leaned forward with practiced concern. Sweetheart, we're just trying to… You're trying to leverage my success for your own purposes, Maya interrupted. The same way you've always treated me, as an asset to be optimized rather than a person to be supported. Her Neuralink chimed with an incoming message. Elena back early from Mars. Lunch today instead of tomorrow. Have some developments to discuss. Roman. Maya stared at the message, then at the three people across the table who claimed to love her, but only wanted what she could provide them. I have to go, she said. Maya, don't be dramatic, Richard said, his tone carrying the authority of someone accustomed to compliance. Sit down. Let's discuss this rationally. Maya smiled, and even she could feel how dangerous it looked. I'm done being rational about people who only care about my success when it benefits them. Cafe Nexus occupied the top 3 floors of a gravity-defying tower that seemed to float above Neo Francisco's skyline. Maya found Elena Rodriguez at a corner table, her presence somehow commanding the entire space despite her diminutive stature. The legendary editor looked younger than her enhanced biological age, with silver hair that caught the artificial sunlight and eyes that missed nothing. Roman was already there, looking devastatingly handsome in a charcoal sweater that probably cost more than most people's monthly housing allocation. When Maya approached, he stood to hold her chair, his hand briefly touching her shoulder in a gesture that sent electricity through her enhanced nervous system. Maya! Eleanor embraced her warmly, her accent carrying hints of old Earth Spanish. Finally, we meet in person. Roman has told me so much about last night's revelations. Maya settled into her chair, hyper-aware of Roman's proximity. I'm still processing everything. As you should be, Eleanor said, activating a privacy shield around their table with a gesture. The background noise of the restaurant faded to whisper quiet. What I'm about to share is extremely confidential. Roman leaned forward, his whiskey eyes intense. Maya, I need to confess something. I'm not just Elena's nephew. Roman, Elena warned with fond exasperation. She deserves to know, Roman said, his gaze never leaving Maya's face. I run Castellanos Sustainable Ventures. We identify ethical businesses with exponential growth potential and provide capital, connections, and strategic guidance. Maya felt her world tilt. You're an investor. Among other things, I've been tracking your boutique for 8 months since that interview in Sustainable Systems Quarterly. Your business model is revolutionary, profitable, ethical, scalable. Everything our industry claims is impossible to achieve simultaneously. Eleanor pulled up a holographic display showing financial projections that made Maya's enhanced vision systems struggle to process the numbers. Conservative estimate, 50 million credits in 5 years. Roman thinks it could be triple that with proper backing. 50 million, Maya breathed. That's conservative, Roman said, his voice dropping to an intimate register. I think you're underestimating your own potential. Again. The way he said again carried weight, suggesting this was a pattern he'd observed in her behavior. Maya, Eleanor continued, Roman isn't just offering investment, he's proposing a complete partnership. Capital, strategic guidance, global distribution networks across all 3 planets. Maya looked between them, her social analysis programs working overtime to decode the undercurrents she sensed. And what do you want in return? Roman's smile was slow and dangerous. The chance to help you build an empire that proves ethics and success aren't mutually exclusive. The opportunity to watch you revolutionize an entire industry. His voice dropped to a whisper that seemed to bypass her hearing and go straight to her nervous system. The privilege of being there when you finally realize your own worth. Eleanor cleared her throat meaningfully. I think I'll powder my nose, give you 2 a chance to discuss the business aspects privately. As Elena walked away, Roman moved to the chair beside Maya, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something that her olfactory enhancers identified as containing actual earth botanicals, impossibly expensive and intoxicating. Maya, Roman said quietly, can I ask you something personal? She nodded, not trusting her voice. When you told your family about turning down Valentino, what did they say? Maya's enhanced memory perfectly recalled the conversation. They said I was naive, financially irresponsible, that I'd never build anything meaningful by being sentimental, about labor practices. Roman's expression darkened. And your husband? Maya hesitated. David supported my decision, but I think he thought it was a mistake I'd learn from. Learn from, Roman repeated, his voice carrying an edge that made her shiver. As if having principles was a phase you'd grow out of. He leaned closer, close enough that Maya could see the gold flecks in his whiskey eyes. Maya, you didn't make a mistake. You made a statement. You said your integrity wasn't for sale, regardless of the price tag. His hand moved to cover hers on the table, fingers intertwining with an intimacy that should have felt inappropriate, but instead felt like coming home. The people who love you conditionally don't actually love you, Roman continued, his voice barely above a whisper. They love what you can do for them, what you represent to their own self-image. Maya's breath caught. Roman, I want to see you build something magnificent, he said, his thumb tracing patterns on her wrist that made her enhanced cardiovascular system register dangerous spikes. I want to watch you prove that you don't need anyone's approval to be extraordinary, and yes, his smile turned predatory. I want to kiss you until you forget every person who ever made you doubt your worth. Maya's Neuralink chimed with a message from David. Your parents want to discuss investment opportunities. Can you come back? This could be big for us. She stared at the message, then at Roman's hand covering hers, at the financial projections still glowing in the air around them. What does your enhanced intuition tell you, Maya Chen? Roman asked softly, reading her expression with uncanny accuracy. For the first time in her genetically optimized, cognitively enhanced, carefully programmed life, Maya decided to listen to something deeper than algorithms and social expectations. It tells me, she said, her voice steadying with each word, that I've been seeking approval from people who fundamentally don't understand what I'm trying to build. Roman's smile was triumphant. And what are you trying to build? Maya looked around the floating restaurant at the impossible view of 3 planets visible through the smart glass walls, at the woman who'd revolutionized fashion across the solar system now returning from the restroom with knowing eyes. Something that matters, Maya said finally. Something that proves you can be profitable and principled. Something that employs people instead of exploiting them. She met Roman's gaze directly. Something mine. Then let's build it, Roman said, his voice carrying promises that had nothing to do with business and everything to do with the dangerous chemistry crackling between them. Together. Maya's Neuralink chimed again with another message from David, another plea to return to her family's suddenly interested embrace. This time, she dismissed it without reading the full text. Yes, she said, the word carrying more weight than any wedding vow she'd ever spoken. Let's build something extraordinary. Roman emerged from the sustainable textile lab, his sleeves rolled up, traces of bioengineered silk fibers clinging to his forearms. The sight of him, brilliant, passionate, completely absorbed in building something meaningful, still made her enhanced cardiovascular system register dangerous spikes. The Mars Cooperative just confirmed, he said, his accent carrying satisfaction. 600 artisan families employed at living wages. The profit margins are holding steady at 43%. Maya smiled, dismissing the holographic displays with a gesture. Elena's documentary numbers. 17 billion views across all 3 planets in the first week. The sustainable fashion movement is officially mainstream. Roman moved behind her, his hands settling on her shoulders with familiar intimacy. You did it, Maya. You changed everything. Through the smart glass windows, Maya could see the Neo Francisco skyline stretching toward the orbital elevators, a monument to human ambition and technological achievement. But what she'd built here, in this converted warehouse filled with ethical fabrics and fair trade materials, felt more substantial than any tower reaching toward the stars. Her Neuralink chimed with an incoming call. Patricia Chen's face materialized in her peripheral vision, wearing the kind of smile that typically preceded a financial negotiation. Darling! Patricia's voice carried artificial warmth optimized for maximum emotional impact. I've been trying to reach you. The Galactic Business Review wants to do a feature on the Chen family dynasty. They're particularly interested in how we've always supported your innovative vision. Maya's laugh contained no humor. Always supported? Well, of course, sweetheart. From the very beginning, your father and I recognized your potential. In fact, we're considering expanding Chen Industries into sustainable fashion. Perhaps we could discuss a family partnership. Maya ended the call with a thought, her neural interface seamlessly blocking Patricia's number. Roman's hands tightened slightly on her shoulders, a gesture of support that needed no words. They're getting desperate, Roman observed. They're getting transparent, Maya corrected, which makes tonight more interesting. Tonight was the Neo Francisco Charitable Foundation's annual gala, a glittering affair where the solar system's elite competed to display their wealth and influence. Maya was the keynote speaker, invited to discuss sustainable business practices in the new economy. Her parents would be there, of course. They'd never missed an opportunity to network with potential clients. The orbital Crown Hotel floated 3 kilometers above Neo Francisco's skyline, its gravitational systems creating the illusion of a palace suspended in space. Maya arrived in a gown from her own collection, midnight blue biosilk embedded with fiber optic threads that pulsed gently with her heartbeat, creating a subtle light show that complemented her enhanced beauty. Roman wore a tuxedo that somehow managed to look both classically elegant and subtly rebellious, his presence commanding attention from across the ballroom. When he offered his arm, Maya felt the familiar electricity of their connection. Professional partnership evolved into something deeper, more dangerous, more real than anything she'd experienced in her carefully optimized life. "You look magnificent," he murmured, his voice carrying undertones that made her biomonitors spike. "Ready to change the world?" "Again," Maya corrected with a smile that could have powered the hotel's life support systems. The ballroom buzzed with conversations in a dozen languages, holographic displays showing charitable giving statistics, and the subtle hum of neural interfaces processing social hierarchies in real time. Maya's enhanced vision picked out her parents across the room, Patricia holding court with several society reporters, Richard networking with planetary governors and corporate executives. They were performing their roles perfectly, the proud parents basking in their daughter's reflected success. "Maya!" Caroline Chen materialized beside them, her genetically enhanced features radiating nervous energy. "You look incredible, and Roman," she extended her hand with calculated charm. "I don't think we were properly introduced at the wedding." "We weren't properly invited to the wedding," Roman replied smoothly, accepting her handshake with polite indifference. Caroline's smile faltered slightly. "Yes, well, about that. Maya, could we talk privately?" Roman's hand found the small of Maya's back, a possessive gesture that sent warmth through her enhanced nervous system. "I'll get us drinks," he said, his eyes holding Maya's for a moment longer than strictly necessary. As Roman moved toward the bar, Caroline stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Maya, I need to apologize. For the wedding, for everything. I was scared of defying Mum and Dad, but watching what you've built—" She gestured toward the gala program, which featured Maya's photo on the cover. "You were right, about all of it." Maya studied her sister's expression, her social analysis programs cataloging micro-expressions for sincerity markers. "What do you want, Caroline?" "I want in," Caroline said bluntly. "Your business, your vision. I want to be part of something meaningful instead of just another Chen Industries asset." "Interesting timing," Maya observed. "Right after my valuation hit 87 million. Caroline's enhanced features flushed with embarrassment. "I know how this looks, but Maya, I've been following your work for months. The artisan cooperatives, the fair trade partnerships. You're not just building a fashion empire, you're creating a movement." Before Maya could respond, James appeared at her elbow, drinks in hand, and his politician's smile firmly in place. "Sister, the woman of the hour." He embraced her with theatrical enthusiasm, clearly aware of the social media cameras documenting every interaction. "James," Maya said coolly, accepting the embrace but not returning it. "I've been telling everyone about our little sister's incredible success," James continued, his voice pitched for the nearby reporters. "The Chen family has always believed in supporting innovative thinking." Maya's enhanced hearing picked up his emphasis on Chen family, the way he positioned her success as a collective achievement rather than her individual accomplishment. "Have you?" Maya's voice carried dangerous sweetness. "Is that why you were live streaming from the Mars casinos during my wedding?" James's political training kicked in, his expression shifting to practiced contrition. "Maya, about that. We've discussed this. There were scheduling conflicts. There were priorities," Maya corrected, "and I wasn't one of them." Roman reappeared with perfect timing, offering Maya a glass of champagne while positioning himself slightly between her and her siblings. His presence radiated protective energy that made her feel both safer and more dangerous. "Are we discussing family dynamics?" Roman asked, his tone carrying just enough. "Ladies and gentlemen," the gala master's enhanced voice carried across the ballroom, "please welcome our keynote speaker, sustainable fashion pioneer, and ethical business leader, Maya Chen." Applause erupted from 800 guests, their enhanced hearing systems creating a symphony of appreciation. Maya felt Roman's hand briefly squeeze hers, a gesture of encouragement and promise. As she walked toward the stage, Maya caught sight of her parents. Patricia was practically glowing with reflected pride, her expression suggesting she'd personally orchestrated Maya's success. Richard was already networking, using Maya's moment to advance his own business interests. Maya took the podium, her enhanced vision scanning the crowd of influential faces looking up at her expectantly. The irony wasn't lost on her. 6 months ago, she'd stood before empty chairs, abandoned by the people who should have supported her. Now she commanded the attention of the solar system's most powerful individuals. "6 months ago," Maya began, her voice carrying easily through the ballroom's acoustic enhancers, "I made a decision that many people called naive. I turned down a collaboration worth more money than most planetary settlements generate in a year." The audience leaned forward, their enhanced attention systems focusing completely on her words. "I made that choice because the offer required me to compromise the principles that define not just my business, but who I am as a person. Tonight, I want to talk about the difference between conditional and unconditional support, in business, in relationships, and in families." Maya's enhanced peripheral vision caught her parents' micro-expressions, shifting from pride to concern. "True success isn't measured by social media metrics or quarterly profit reports," Maya continued, her voice gaining strength. "It's measured by your ability to build something meaningful while staying authentic to your values. It's about surrounding yourself with people who believe in your vision before it becomes profitable." She paused, letting her gaze sweep over the audience, briefly meeting Roman's eyes. He was watching her with an expression of such intense admiration that her biomonitors registered dangerous spikes. "Some of you may know that my family wasn't present at my wedding 6 months ago. They had other priorities: virtual golf tournaments, sponsored ski trips, social media opportunities that aligned better with their brand." A ripple of recognition moved through the audience. Maya's family drama had become gossip fodder across 3 planets, but their absence made space for something better. It allowed me to see the difference between people who love what you can do for them and people who love who you are, between those who support you when it's convenient and those who support you when it costs them something. Maya's voice softened, becoming more intimate despite the vast ballroom. "Building an ethical business empire isn't about proving other people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about creating something so aligned with your authentic self that their approval becomes irrelevant." The applause was thunderous, enhanced hearing systems creating waves of appreciation that seemed to physically move through the space. Maya remained at the podium for a moment, letting the validation wash over her before making her way back to Roman. He was waiting for her at their table, his expression unreadable but intense. As she approached, he stood, his hands finding her waist with possessive certainty. "That," he said, his voice rough with emotion, "was magnificent." "Was it enough?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer from the way the crowd was looking at her, with the kind of respect that couldn't be bought or manufactured. Roman's smile was predatory and proud. "Maya Chen, you just redefined success for an entire industry. I think that's more than enough." Before Maya could respond, her Neuralink chimed with notifications. Media requests, business proposals, interview offers, flooding her neural interface faster than her enhanced processing could catalogue them. But more importantly, private messages were arriving from people she actually cared about. Eleanor Rodriguez praising her courage, friends expressing pride in her authenticity, colleagues across 3 planets requesting partnerships. Patricia and Richard appeared at their table, their social masks slipping slightly to reveal calculation beneath the parental pride. "Maya, darling," Patricia began, "that was a beautiful speech. Perhaps we should discuss how to leverage this momentum." "No," Maya said simply. Richard's enhanced pupils dilated as he accessed his negotiation protocols. "Sweetheart, let's be rational. Chen Industries could help you scale globally, provide the infrastructure you need." "I don't need your infrastructure," Maya interrupted, her voice carrying the quiet confidence of someone who'd discovered her own power. "Most importantly," Maya continued, "I've built something I'm proud of with people who believed in me before I was valuable to them. Your approval isn't necessary anymore." Patricia's composure cracked entirely. "Maya, you can't just dismiss your family." "I'm not dismissing you," Maya said, her tone gentle but final. "I'm simply making your approval irrelevant. There's a difference." As Maya and Roman walked away from the table, she felt Roman's hand find hers, their fingers intertwining with practiced intimacy. Behind them, she could hear her parents attempting damage control with nearby reporters, but their voices seemed to come from a great distance. "Your place or mine?" Roman asked quietly, his voice carrying promises that had nothing to do with business and everything to do with the way he was looking at her, like she was the most magnificent thing in the universe. Maya smiled, feeling more powerful and authentic than she'd ever felt in her genetically optimized, cognitively enhanced life. "Mine," she said. "I want to show you the empire we built." As they left the gala together, Maya's Neuralink displayed one final notification. Forbes Galactic, requesting an exclusive interview about her transformation from family disappointment to industry revolutionary. Maya dismissed it with a thought. She had better things to do with her time. 3 hours later, Maya stood in her studio with Roman, reviewing holographic projections of their expansion plans while her team worked around them. The space hummed with creative energy, designers sketching, textile engineers optimizing biofabrics, logistics coordinators managing supply chains across 3 planets. "Milan Fashion Week confirmed," Roman said, his arms encircling her waist from behind as they studied the projections. 6 shows, including the opening night gala. And the documentary sequel. Eleanor's already in pre-production, Empire Built on Ethics, The Maya Chen Revolution. Roman's breath was warm against her ear. "You realize you've officially become more influential than your parents." Maya leaned back against his chest, feeling the solid warmth of him, the reality of what they'd built together. "It was never about being more influential than them," she said softly. "It was about building something worthy of influence." Roman turned her in his arms, his whiskey eyes intense in the studio's soft lighting. "Maya Chen," he said, his voice rough with emotion, "you are the most extraordinary woman I've ever known." When he kissed her, it tasted like victory and possibility, and the promise of building something beautiful together. Around them, the studio buzzed with the energy of people creating something meaningful. An empire built not on exploitation or family connections, but on principles that could withstand any market fluctuation or social trend. Maya had learned that revenge wasn't about destroying your enemies. It was about becoming so successful on your own terms that their opinions lost all power over your happiness. The empty chairs at her wedding had made space for something infinitely better. A life filled with people who saw her worth from the very beginning.